first question about the Mets and Tarik Skubal. Have you looked at the Mets trade packages or the potential ones floated out there? Do you see the Mets as a good fit if he becomes available as not even just like a good fit, the best fit based off of what could potentially be the return?
I'll be honest, and part of it is maybe it is the market you guys are in and how aggressive you've been over the last few years. But I'm not even saying this just to pander. When it became clear that there's a possibility of a Tarik Skubal trade, the Mets were the first team that came to mind to me for a couple reasons. One, I think you are the most likely to trade and extend. Like, I think that there's a possibility of a Mookie Betts type thing where you not only acquire him, but you say, oh, by the way, here's 10 years, 400, and let's roll with it. With the way that Cohen is spent. But it's one of those things where I know who the Tigers are, but even beyond that, I know who you guys are. And the fact that I think there's enough depth within your system and enough depth offensively where we could poach a few pieces from your team, whether it's the major league roster or the minor league rosters, and the Mets would come away from it and feel like, okay, we didn't really gut our team by any means or give up too much. You still have stars. You still have Lindor. You still have Juan Soto. You still have a lineup that's going to be able to hit and score runs. But even beyond that, I know who the Mets are, and I know the fact that over the last few years, especially this season, what really did kill them was the fact that you just had this rotation made up. It's similar to us, honestly, but made up of a lot of flyers. And in 2024, that worked, and you got good years from Minaya and Quintana, and all of a sudden you're finding yourself in the NLCS. This year, whether Kanan gets injured and Minaya is not the version of him that he was the year before coming back from injury, and you're looking at a team that was kind of without an ace. And trust me, so many times over the last 2 years, I mean, an obscene number of times, the Tigers would be in a rough spot, about to lose a series, get swept in the heart of a losing streak, and Tarik would take the ball and it would just be 7 scoreless. And it's like, all right, we're good. That showstopper is so important for a team. And that, I think, is what the Mets are lacking. It's going to take a haul to bring Tarik Skubal to your team, straight up, regardless of who you have. But the Mets are one of 5 to 10 teams in baseball, and there's probably overselling. There's probably fewer, but one of 5 to 10 teams in baseball that I am confident are in win now mode and want to win a World Series right now. And you do that by bringing on somebody like Tarik.
So two questions. The first one, you mentioned the Mets' likelihood to trade and extend.
Yeah,
that's something that I've been curious about, because just to give you a little Mets history, I'm not sure how far back with baseball you go, but 2007, the Mets had a 7-game lead on the Philadelphia Phillies, and with 17 games to play, and blew that division lead going 4-13 down the stretch. They lacked an ace. And what did they do? They went to the AL Central and traded for Johan Santana for the following season. They had, as a condition in that trade, a 24-hour or 48-hour window. I forget how long it was, but a window to negotiate an extension. And if they didn't, the trade was voided. And I don't think that's going to exist in this.
I can't imagine.
So as a result, do you think, based off your knowledge or just maybe your intel about the situation, is there any world where Skubal actually wants to negotiate an extension with Boris being his agent? Or is, because it's Scott Boras, he's like, no, let me get you to the open market?
Yeah. I would put it at a very small percentage chance that we get a pre-2026 or an in-season extension. And I don't know. And I've had certain interactions about it. I don't know how much of that is I don't think it's really Tarik's refusal. Could be wrong about that, but this is Boras giving you the full Boras experience. It's something. Look, as long as he has clients that get paid like Juan Soto just got paid, guys are going to keep listening to him. And he has been adamant for so long. Sometimes it works to his benefit. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's backfired. But what he wants is a free agency arms race between 3 or 4 big suitors who are all kind of up in the ante, up in the numbers, consistently as he hits the free agent market. Now, I still, even, and this goes back to what I said a minute ago, I still would view the Mets as one of the more likely suitors, whether they trade for him this season or not. Just being the team they have, having the owner they have, I still think it's likely that he ends up in Queens in some capacity. But as a whole, I don't think that I think they're going to be pretty hush hush about an in-season or preseason extension. The guy's 2 days away from winning back-to-back Cy Youngs. I mean, I don't want to put the cart before the horse. So he's going to be the favorite at least to win his third. They know how valuable he's going to be. Any opportunity they can take to get the most money, they're going to take it. And I think that would be, having him hit the free agent market after next season.
It would be interesting if he does get traded to the National League. Just a side note, like him and Skeens competing for a Cy Young right? in the same league. It's very much Judge and Ohtani. Yeah. All those years in the American League competing for MVP. Now you have the two best pitchers in baseball competing for one league's Cy Young. I look at the second part of the question, what the Mets could offer. Let me if I just say anybody but Nolan McLean, is that okay? Or is the first name on your list Nolan McLean?
The first name I would try for is Nolan McLean. Right. I know how the current world works, and I know that the Mets would kind of view it potentially long term as something of just a lateral move if you were to trade McLean and get Skubal. So you go for it. I'm not immediately hanging up the phone if McLean is just not available. I'm going to listen, but that is obviously the big piece that I think pretty much any team that wants to make a big move with the Mets is going to try to go for.
So if I then say Jonathan, let's go Jonathan or Brandon Sproat, one of the everyday players, either Carson Bench or Jet Williams, an everyday player like Brett Beatty, and then someone in the Mets farm system around the teens. I'll get a name in a second, but if it's those four, one of the pitchers, one of the future everyday players, a current major leaguer, and then someone else with potential. Is that the framework of a deal that entices you?
It's definitely the framework. I would, and I don't know how willing they'd, if they'd be willing to play ball. I would rather have Vientos over Beatty.
Really?
Yes.
This might have just extended the podcast. I will gladly give you Vientos over Beatty.
That's part of the reason is I know he just had a bad year, and I think his value. I still like him, and I think that his value is lower than it will be. There's also this weird thing with Detroit where we have a crazy surplus of left-handed hitters in our lineup. And just by merely having somebody to mix it up with Vientos and batting from the right side, I think would be more valuable. I don't know though, and I get it. I still am a believer in him. I mean, I watched that 24 postseason where he was money. Still a young player. But you talk about the framework. Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what the market's going to be. I don't know what other moves teams are going to make. But the framework of that is justifiable. Like I think that's around what the Tigers would expect in a deal for Skubal.